Yesterday, Mason, I cut off this intro for Happy June. I thought it was going to go on top of it. It's just hard cut.
Happy June. It is a happy June. I think it's going to continue to be a happy June.
This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Yes, sir, Internet world. West Alabama, you hear it already. We're having a great day on the Joe Gaither Show, Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys are checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel, right there on my Facebook page, wherever you get the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate you joining us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify. We are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Okay, there we go. Oh, we're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, and I am on somewhat of the struggle bus. I'm feeling great, but my vocal cords are not. You can hear that. But we appreciate everybody jumping in and joining us on the comment section at Joe Gaither 6, or leave us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We're going to have a fun day. Mason's going to carry some weight. Dax is going to carry some weight, and we're going to see if I can't get this voice back over the course of the next hour. Talking Alabama football, we want to talk about tight ends with Dax. We want to talk about Alabama's newest commit, Alabama's newest big boy. We're very excited. I saw yesterday, Mason, so this happens every year. Alabama behind in recruiting. Alabama behind in this was in the morning, and I was just like, just give it some time, people. And later in the day, boom, commitment.
Bingo.
Give it some time, people. We'll talk about Alabama's newest commit, Sam Utu. We'll dive back into House First NCAA just a little bit. But really, we're going to lead with Dax on the voicemail line. Before we do any of that, we thank Derek Daniel for hosting us on the program. Derek Daniel, right here off of McFarland Boulevard, will take care of all your insurance needs. Call him at 205-758-3391. You can call him for your home, life, auto insurance needs. He's upstairs right now waiting to talk to you, give you a good free quote, fast free quote, and help you understand your insurance needs. So call Derek today and find us on the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. All right, we had Theo yesterday going crazy. Mason had himself a weekend, and now is back in the saddle. So follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. And with that, sir, I'm sorry to just throw some weight on you, but I might need you to carry a little bit today. Excuse me.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Hey, luckily it was a very busy weekend, so we should have a good bit to talk about, not just in Alabama. I think all four of the schools that we cover had a commitment yesterday. So big time
busy for you.
Yeah, it was a busy last few days, between the actual commitments and then just like scouring message boards to see who is supposedly going to be committing next and getting things pre-written. I think yesterday alone, I probably sat down and, wrote 8 or 10 articles. The majority of them have not even been posted and might not get posted. We'll never know. We'll have to find out as the month progresses here. But, as I was saying, we were getting in, it has been a happy June for Alabama.
Happy June?
Very happy day yesterday for Alabama. You land the first commit of the summer. We'll get into the details a little later in the show. But I think the month of June is going to be very kind to Alabama. I think
happy June.
they're going to be saying that a lot around the facility in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, everybody, happy June.
Okay, so you can help me with something journalistically. You talk about your 8 to 10 articles that you wrote yesterday, and well done. But you caveat, some of them may not get posted. That's my biggest hurdle in this whole game is I'm going to pre-write something. I'm going to take an hour to make sure it's right, and then no one's going to see it because Billy committed somewhere else.
Yeah. Usually at this point I've written so many recruiting things that it is, it's a little formulaic to an extent. So, I can pump one out in 20 minutes or so. Yeah, usually. So that's not too bad, but also even if the kid doesn't commit, if you do have something pre-written, then you can just kind of quickly flip it into, so-and-so loses out on whoever this is. So, it's not all bad. You can sometimes, for the most part, at least get a piece out of it still, but I am with you. It's tough to pre-write things unless you are dang sure that it's going to happen, because it's just what's the point of sitting here and, essentially wasting your time doing it. I mean, it's, I guess, good practice, but if nobody's going to see it, what's the point in writing it?
I saw you talk to a couple kids who went to the either committed to Vanderbilt or went to Vanderbilt over the weekend. So you got a couple conversations in.
Yeah, one commitment out from 6'6" tight end Adam Gim. Yeah, I think he's going to be very good. A little bit undersized, a little bit on the thinner side, but I think add some bulk on him, and he'll be a very dynamic player for Vanderbilt. I'm excited about what he can do. I think Vanderbilt is sneakily doing a really good job this year, up to 11 commitments now. The other guy I got a chance to talk to, we will, I think he is getting closer and closer to a commitment. One of the ones that I did pre-write this weekend, Colin Flanagan, a 3-star cornerback. He was in Nashville this weekend. Sounds like everything went really well, I think. So yeah, man, I think Clark Lee might be doing some things up there in Nashville. They're not going to necessarily be sitting in the top 10 or anything, but I would not be shocked if you see Vanderbilt as like a top 30, maybe even top 25.
I love Nashville. I was there this past weekend, and if it weren't for the traffic, I might be all in. The traffic is HELL, awful. But I might be all in for sure. But on Clark Lee, I do think that the thing that makes Clark Lee work is he knows who he is. He knows who his program is. I don't really see him spending a lot of time on some 5-star that he's never going to get.
Yeah.
I think he's evaluating who does 24/7 not find, who does On3 Sports underrate, who does Rivals not know about yet. I think he and his staff probably are scouring tape and doing some evaluations. And to your point, you're 6'6" tight end. How big was 6'6"? What?
I think he's 6'10", 205.
All right, yeah, perfect. They see that and they say, we can get him on an SEC weight program. We can get him on an SEC weight program, keep his speed up, get him to 240, 235, and he can be a receiving monster.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good player. He, like I said, got a chance to talk to him a little bit, and he seems like he's very excited about coming to Vanderbilt. I think a lot of these recruits, the guys that I talked to all really are buying into what Clark Lee is doing there. Like you said, I think he's got a good idea of what Vanderbilt is, and he doesn't try to sell these kids a dream or anything. I think he sells them on exactly what they're building at Vanderbilt, and it's just a tough football team. They're not going to be the best. They're not going to necessarily be like competing for championships.
They might be in 5 years.
In a few years, yeah, and they're going to be damn tough.
Yeah, I think that if the trajectory continues, he'll have access to higher rated recruits.
Yeah, I'm glad that Vanderbilt has given. Not that they were really ever a team that was just kind of willy nilly firing people. But I'm glad that because 2020 was, or maybe 2020 he was hired, I think. So I'm glad they've really given him the opportunity to kind of, not super slowly, but slowly build this into, we're really starting to now, the last 2 seasons, I think, starting to see the dividends a little bit.
It helps that he's a Nashville native. It helps that he played at Vanderbilt. He knows what they are.
He's doing good things. Watch out for Vanderbilt.
Watch out for Vanderbilt. We never really even got into Ryan Williams and Diego Pavia spat last week. What you think about Ryan just being, we're gonna ant with a sledgehammer, so we're gonna smash him like a ant with a sledgehammer on an ant?
Yeah, that was just a bad call. I saw something yesterday that really reminded me just how young he is.
Right,
13 years old in 2020.
Don't say that.
13 years old in 2020.
Don't say that.
He was in middle school when COVID happened. So
brutal.
Yeah, he's still a kid. Kids say dumb things. I understand that he is on a much larger platform than maybe he was when he was a 13-year-old. But that's all I'm really going to chalk it up to.
Yeah, the problem is and he should be. He's so confident that that's what he believes, and good, you should believe it. But somebody's got to, you
just got to check him a little bit,
right? And with Vanderbilt, I don't know if I said this to you. Oh no, I was saying it to my girlfriend over the weekend, bitching about this topic. I was like, Vanderbilt does not have the skill to stand up to Alabama, right? What happened last year was they just drug you into deep water and
suffocated you.
Right. The skill is just enough to be dangerous, but not by any means more. The thing that made Vanderbilt so good was, the 5 mile. They were the 5 mile dog. I'm gonna bite your leg. I'm gonna bite your leg. I'm gonna bite your leg. I'm gonna bite your leg, and then boom, you're gonna fall. So what do you like? The one thing you don't want to do is stir up that hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Is make Diego Pavia even more like Diego Pavia. Is he the best quarterback in the SEC? Hell no. But could all 16 teams win with him? Yes.
Absolutely.
He's that kind of guy. So you just don't want to fire him up anymore. To me, they're already going to be fired up to come into Tuscaloosa and try to make it 2 in a row and make it a big thing. But like you don't want. I don't think you want to be giving a team that only really operates on motivation more motivation.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. I think I said it, when we talked about it a little bit last week. I think I said, like, I would have almost rather him said this about Georgia because Georgia.
Maybe we did talk about this.
Georgia knows what they are. Georgia is like they are on that skill level. Like they're not playing off of, we got to be this underdog. We got to find motivation. They are playing. Oh, we know we're Georgia. We know we're better than everyone. Vanderbilt, they are playing purely off of that motivation, that underdog factor that
Right.
We're not supposed to be here.
They had a really good game plan. Credit that, absolutely. But that really good game plan alone should not have beaten Alabama. It was just little mistakes and extra motivation and physicality at the line of scrimmage and physicality finishing every single run. Sorry, Jihad Campbell getting drug into the end zone. Like, you just don't want to give them any more juice. All right, so the voice is coming and going, and that's okay. But our voicemail line is always open at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We've got Dax on the voicemail line. I did not play it yesterday. I'm sorry, Dax. Theo and I just got into this house versus NCAA stuff way too much. So here we go. This is Dax on the voicemail line. We invite everybody to jump in and join us. Bring your own topics. I know my man Bama Nick, you remember Type 109? He was in my DMs last night. What? You got a phone number? And I said, yeah, man, here it is. It's voicemail. He said, well, I want to talk to you live. And I said, well, I'm still working on that. But call us on the voicemail line. I would love to take Bama Nick's voicemail. Yeah. Absolutely. So if you want to join us on the voicemail line, it's 205-462-7340, extension 800. Here is Dax talking Alabama football.
It is Dax again. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. I hope whoever was sick is feeling better. All right, so we're going to start this off with a little bit of basketball. There's hardly any information on this team so far, but I've been hearing so many good things about the very limited amount of practices that we've had so far about the basketball team. I am just as excited, if not more excited, to see LeBaron absolutely ball out on the court than I was last year. Because LeBaron is going to be I'm thinking, if he doubles his, he could double his production, and that would be amazing. And that means that we have a possibility of going to a third straight Elite Eight. But we won't talk about that right now. It's way, way too early to talk about friggin' March when it's June. All right, now on to the meat of the voicemail. I have done a lot of positions so far. We haven't done tight ends yet. So I'm going on the list of the Alabama roster on the internet. First up, we've got Mr. Marshall Pritchett. He's a freshman coming in this year, 6'5", 235. He's going to be more of your pass-catching guy, but I don't see him getting on the field except in garbage time this year, just for them garbage time reps. But he is going to be a monster later on when he grows up a little bit. Oh, man. I've heard so many good things about Marshall. Next up, we got Jaden Hobson. He's 6'5", 255. He's I think he's more of a blocking tight end, but, you know. So maybe C.J. DeFree-esque, I think. I haven't heard much about Jaden. I mean, I've heard a little bit. Y'all talked about him a little bit too, but I think Jaden's going to be pretty good. Then we got the man, the tight end number one, well, pass catcher-wise, is Josh Cuevas. Oh, he's 6'3", 252. He's kind of a big boy, but that boy, I tell you what, he can run routes pretty crisp, and he can catch a dang ball, I tell you what. Roll dang Tide.
I'll tell you what.
I love me some Josh Cuevas. That boy balled out last year. He's gonna ball out even more this year with Ryan Grubb at OC, dude. Oh, I cannot wait. Then we got Mr. Peter Knudsen, 6'4", 246. I don't know. I don't know what to expect of Peter Knudsen, except for I really have no idea. Was Weber State good at football last year? Because Peter Knudsen, I mean, he logged 350 some odd snaps. I remember y'all saying only caught not many yards. Either way, DeBoer brought him in for a reason. But I trust DeBoer's freaking evaluations. DeBoer and Courtney Morgan's evaluations are some of the best in the freaking world.
Yes,
apparently.
This is accurate.
And then next up we got Danny Lewis, the one that entered the transfer portal and came back because somebody either gave him a bag or convinced him that he was going to get more playing time this year. So
that part.
I expect to see more of Danny Lewis. And, I mean, he had a lot of hype as a recruit. So, like, I hope we get to see more of Danny Lewis because I think he's got a lot of star potential at tight end. And then the last one on the list, Mr. Jay Lindsey, Mr. had to fill in because every other tight end was hurt during the spring. The boy got some insanely good reps, and they were very important, especially him being a redshirt freshman. Super important for him to actually, I think those reps that he got this spring are actually going to, they're going to benefit him greatly next year and the year after that.
Big time.
I'm excited for the tight end room this year, but next year that tight end room is going to be, Josh Cuevas is the man this year. All right, that's all I got to say on that one, on the tight ends. I hope y'all have a good week and roll tide.
Roll Tide. Dax on the voicemail line. Absolutely. We want to thank Dax was serving our country this past weekend doing drilling. I think with the National Guard. One of the. I'm not that up on all that, but I know he was serving the country this weekend. I want to say thank you for that, Dax, and appreciate your time on the voicemail line as well. Mason, you want to hit some thoughts on the tight ends? Go ahead. What you think about any of that?
Yeah, I do have to. One guy that I think he may not have mentioned, Caleb Edwards, that we left off the list.
Yeah,
there.
because he's got to enroll.
Yeah, got to get here, got to get to campus. So we will see. A guy that I am very excited about. Probably won't be seeing the field a ton this year, but possibly the most physically, impressive tight end of the group, 6'6", 250. As for guys this year that are going to be contributors, I think he nailed it. Josh Cuevas is probably your main guy. I do think Danny Lewis is going to get a lot of playing time. I think he offers you a little bit more than Cuevas does in the receiving game, so you'll probably see him being more of a pass catcher where Cuevas maybe be utilized as more of a blocker. You still have the two transfers you brought in, Brody Dalton from Troy and our gentleman from Jackson Marco from West Virginia. Not really sure what either of them are going to do. I think, if anything, they're going to kind of just split that Robbie Utes role. I would expect Cuevas and Lewis to be your main contributors, stat wise. They're probably going to be your main pass catchers at the tight end position. But I do think you'll see 3 or 4 guys there, probably rotating in and out.
If you had to have one question mark in a position on offense, wouldn't you rather it be tight end? Obviously not quarterback,
sure.
not. Well, I guess we got to be objective. Quarterback is sort of a question mark. Offensive line, pretty dang solid.
I would say so.
We love what you have in the wide receiver room. Probably is your strongest position group on the offense.
Maybe on the whole team.
Yeah. Ooh, can any position group beat the wide receivers? Ooh,
maybe that safety room.
Defensive line, no, not enough dynamic, not enough star power. Sorry, Tim Keenan. Good players.
Yeah.
LT Overton. I mean, star power, but LT Overton star power
sacks
from Ryan Williams star power, not comparable. Sorry, LT. Yeah, maybe strongest position on the team. So offense, you're going wide receiver. Running back or offensive line? Offensive
line second, running back third, but it's close.
Yeah, you see PFF going crazy about Alabama's offensive line, and I hate that.
Don't love that. It felt like there was 3 or 4 years in a row there towards the end of the Saban era where it was, this is going to be the best Alabama line you've ever seen, and then they were just really okay.
That's the great way to put it. And I'm sick of it. Yeah. I'm sick of falling for that. So it's nothing personal against U5. I think U5 are actually really good young men and hard workers and beasts. Really,
by season's end, you will deserve what PFF is giving you right now.
Sure. But right now, I don't want to entertain that narrative. I'm sick of that.
I think it's going to be a solid line, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Not getting over a 6 or a 7 out of 10 on excitement.
So tight ends, I think that it's okay. I remember going back and forth with Martin Houston, golly, in 2020 or 21, one of those 2 years, and he was like, "Well, we need a receiving tight end." And like that team was like bleeping loaded. It was so I was like, Martin, how how wealthy are we that we're sitting here talking about every other position is set and is A+, but we don't have a receiving tight end.
We've got to get a very niche type of this one position that really isn't even that important overall.
and I mean, it's great asset, absolutely great asset. But I was just laughing at how wealthy all the other positions. He was like, we just don't have a red zone threat in the at the tight end position. And I was like, yeah. But you got Jameson Williams and John Mechie, and
you don't really even find yourself in the red zone that often, you know. I think this year you do have a bit of that though in Danny Lewis. Obviously Cuevas, we've seen him be able to he can make catches and things. I think Cuevas is a bit of an underrated receiver. People don't give him enough credit, maybe, but Danny Lewis is definitely that more kind of jump ball type, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think his point, Danny Lewis going in the portal, coming back out. I think that if it can be healthy. And injuries, not big injuries, but little injuries have always been plaguing him during his time in Tuscaloosa and the depth chart for sure.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy, then I agree with you. I think he's probably your top receiver in the tight end room. I think he's your top receiver, but Cuevas gets the most snaps because he can do both.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I think that Caleb Edwards gets some receptions. Probably isn't playing a ton, but get some receptions because and maybe this is all just the hype train, but I think that he is maybe a very complete looking base as a tight end. Like obviously you got to grow some of these skill sets, but if you look at the base and you say athleticism, height, weight, baseline blocking, baseline receiving, I think that he might be your most complete looking tight end in the whole room.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if we're sitting there against Eastern Illinois and it's 45-3, and then you see, Caleb Edwards with a 45-yard seam right up the middle, bomb touchdown, you know, and it's like, there it is, we see it.
1,000% yes. Jaden Hobson came from Hillcrest, went to
played tackle in high school, didn't he?
Right. Well, you remember Kendall Randolph, Levi's brother, who was sometimes a tight end and sometimes a tackle. I think that's exactly what Jaden Hobson's going to be. Is going to be that we are going with 6 offensive linemen,
jumbo package,
right? Yeah, and I do think he's going to find a role and get some time. The thing about all these tight ends is I think they're all very specific in what they can do. Now, Marshall Pritchett, I know you're pumped for him, but suffered some kind of injury in spring.
Looks like he might be out for a bit. It looked like it was, again, we don't know any details. It looks to be relatively serious in the big like air cast thing, you know.
Right. But I do think that he can become. I think he can become a quality tight end. He's going to have to get some more beef on him, I think.
Yeah, a little bit slender.
And then I'm with him on Jay Lindsey. I think Jay Lindsey is just a nasty dude, just a nasty mother dude who says, "What's the role?
Yeah,
I'll try 100% towards whatever that role is."
Jay Lindsey, I think, has that Robbie Oots mentality of just anything to help the team. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I think Jay Lindsey puts that A on it and says, "Whatever.
This is what I'm playing for."
Yes, Patrician Academy, whatever it takes, Coach. Put me in the game. Whatever snaps you give me, maybe not the most athletic and maybe not the most talented, but you're getting 100% my gas.
He's got heart.
Yeah, and that's valuable.
Can't teach heart.
I mean, heart with where we at? Jay Lindsey, heart with 6'5", 258. So like we're not talking about Rudy here. I'm sorry. Like I mean, it started to paint a bad picture, but like heart with a real solid base, a real solid frame here.
You're not getting any charity reps. Like if you're getting reps, it's because you're good enough to get them.
Absolutely. So I'm I can't lie. I'm not like excited about the tight end room. Caleb Edwards intrigues the heck out of me, but I just think that you've got probably a little bit of runway to, get on campus, get acclimated. He's one of the only, him and Chuck McDonald are the basically 2 freshmen that didn't early enroll. What's harder to get on the field, corner or tight end? I think that's a good question.
Ooh.
That just hit me. But like, who sees a role first? Is it Chuck because Kane Womack's just rotating defensive back all game long? I think tight end's just a really hard position to step into the next level. You see it in the NFL all the time.
Yeah.
We go, oh, this is great. Do you really think Tyler Warren's going to dominate for Indianapolis? Probably not. And I'll just be honest. Do I really think that Colston Loveland is going to have an amazing year for the Bears this year as a first-round pick? No, I think most of my Bears fans are going to be upset about it. But like, I think
he's Brock Bowers. You know,
he will be. He will be. He's going to be. I'm excited about Colston. I mean, when Alabama played Michigan 2 years ago.
Yes. I recall it well.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it, and I'm like, "Who can somebody guard that dude?"
No. The answer was no.
So yeah, I'm excited about him as a Bear, and I know Tyler Warren. You know, all the Colts fans are excited about him, but for your intents and purposes, he's going to be a bust.
Sure.
The tight end's just a hard, wherever you are, high school to college to pro, that jump at that position because there's such physicality at the line of scrimmage. That's the big part of it, and then there's just nuance in the route running game.
Yeah, it's kind of like, to me, it makes sense in the same way that it makes sense for offensive linemen. They usually take a while to catch on. It's usually second or third year before an offensive lineman starts to step into that starting role. A lot of time. Now, sometimes you have your special cases where it's a true freshman getting on the field or things like that, but for the most part, it's your second or third season before you start to get those big time reps and take on a bigger role. And tight ends the same way because, like you said, the physicality, line of scrimmage, but then also you have to develop a chemistry with a quarterback. You have to figure out the nuances of the offense. You have to learn all of the the different terminology and things. A lot of things that offensive linemen don't need to know.
Windows are smaller over the middle. You're going to get your head cracked by a middle linebacker a couple times, and you got to figure out maybe I should stop a second earlier.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to that position that I think people don't necessarily give it credit for. It makes it very hard to crack into the to the rotation if you're a new player,
big
new
time.
to the room.
I think Jackson Marco could become a guy that you're seeing a lot of in a blocking role as well. I'm very curious to get to know Brody Dalton. I'm very curious. That's a huge question mark to me.
Yeah, because I mean neither of them were overly productive last season, but he was much more so than Samarco. I mean, what he had, I don't remember what it was, but 20 catches or so, right? Something like that. So, yeah, I think it's he maybe showed the ability to be a more receiving tight end. It's just he wasn't really given the opportunities. So, if he gets some of those opportunities this year, I am interested to see what he does with them.
Just from a body composition type, I think that he and Josh Cuevas are very similar.
Yeah.
And I think experience type. So obviously Cuevas is going to lead the room with his. This is how we did it at Washington, and I know the system. Danny Lewis, I think he's going to be your biggest receiving threat. But I wouldn't be surprised if Brody Dalton finds himself cracking some rotation because, hey, I'm just like the rest of these guys. I can fall right in and rotate through. So it's going to be fun. I think I'm just really curious about how the offense will look under Ryan Grubb without Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I mean that is such a big piece of this year of like projecting what the offense, what any players on this offense will do, is because I do really and truly think it's going to look a lot different than it did last year. Not like night and day we're running a whole new offensive system or anything like that, but just, and again, sorry to Jalen Milroe, I'm not trying to come down on you, but just getting a guy that can consistently deliver the ball accurately and on time is going to change the way the offense looks a lot.
That, and I'm just really thinking about the running game and what you're going to do for the offensive line where it's a handoff left. It's a pitch out right. It's not.
It's no more, hey, Jalen, we need you to be just faster than everyone.
Yeah, get to the edge. Can you get to the edge? Can we?
If you can do that, we're okay.
Can we seal, and seal, kick out? Oh no, I'm hoping that PFF offensive line can drive off the football and give you 3-4 yards a pop. Period. I don't know that was really automatic last year with the running back. So there we go. Tight ends. The voice is in and out, but we're doing okay. So we're going to keep it going right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We want to let you know you can call Derek at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Red Reese and Victoria are upstairs and would love to talk to you about your home, life, auto insurance. It's the summertime. Happy June. If you got a boat and you need it insured, if you're looking to buy a boat, you can call Derek and he can get your boat insured with State Farm and get you great coverage. So call him 205-758-3391. All right, let's keep it going. We got another big piece of news yesterday with Sam Utu. And so Alabama is getting another commit. And I'm just going to let you lead for a second, Mason. Who is Sam Utu and why are we excited about him?
Well, 6'4", 320 pounds, Sam Utu from Orange, California, 4-star offensive lineman, is...
Read about it on BamaCentral.com.
Yes, go read about it on BamaCentral.com. One of the 2 offensive linemen now in the class for Alabama. One of the, I believe, only 2 offensive players in the class for Alabama. They've gone heavy on the defense so far. But regardless, just a really, really solid offensive lineman. From everything I have seen about him, everything I've read about him, he's very versatile. He can play multiple roles, can play inside, can play outside, guard, tackle. He spent most of his time at tackle last season, I think, and has also served as a guard as well. On 3 has him as 14th in the nation as a interior offensive lineman, and then Rivals lists him as a tackle as number 41 in the country. So either way you want to spin it, is one of the top players at that position in the nation. I really don't even know what he projects as at the next level. I think body type wise, 6'4", 320, you're probably would think more guard, just because if you're looking at tackle, you're wanting maybe 6'6" and up, 6'5" and up. But if you go to Twitter, you can see our friend Andrew Bone tweeted out a video the other day of him working out, and you can see how well he's able to move. You can see how nimble he is. You can see how light he is on his feet, and that screams tackle. He is so quick on his feet. I'm watching this video. He's doing these sprinters hurdles, and he's jumping over them like he weighs 120 pounds. Like, he's hitting the ground, and it's just so light. He's bouncing around. He moves like a gazelle. It's crazy. I think this is just a plug and play kind of guy. Anywhere you want to put him, anywhere you want to start him out at when he gets here, I think he will be great there. So whether he gets here and they decide, oh, we need a guy on the inside, or whether he gets here and they want to throw him at tackle, I think he's going to succeed anywhere you put him.
Yeah, so those 2 little blurbs, maybe the people heard it, but I know Mason and I did as I was muting his huddle tapes. First huddle tape I see, he's playing guard, but this sophomore tape, we're playing tackle, and the first one he shows nice anchor, and he shows good ability to pull. Now he's playing tackle, and he's just collapsing down these lines, just boom, boom, coming down. That's left side, left tackle, right there. So I think he's playing left and right tackle all over the place for this. Back on the left side and crashing down. You're getting washed down, buddy. Sorry, defensive lineman. Pass protection. See, these few pass protection reps that we've seen on this huddle tape are nice.
Dude,
are very
kick
nice.
Step, he covers like 8 yards in one step. It's crazy.
The step and his pad level, sitting in the chair, basically playing the mirror game. And I'm gonna step. You're not getting around me, buddy. The pad level looks like the pad level on these run plays leaves a little bit to be desired. Yeah, leaves a little to be desired. But hey, buddy, that's part of it. You're not going to be a perfect guy. And it is a sophomore. These are sophomore tapes.
Yeah, and I can see how that happens when you're probably 2 inches and 40 pounds heavier than everyone else on the field. 2 inches taller, 40 pounds heavier. So I can understand.
I'm loving these pass reps. I am loving these pass reps. Now, okay, second level, getting to the second level.
There's one clip in there where him, and I think it's the left guard as well, both just wash this kid out to the left side of the field and just put him right on his back. And it is so demoralizing. You just see, and he kind of slides back and hits a little tumble. Man, it's tough.
I like the way he just handled that to his stunt, communicating with his guard, picking up the guy coming around. I
tell you what really jumped out to me.
A technical player. Keep going.
And I mentioned this to you right before we started recording, but you look at what he's wearing.
Mm-hmm. Why did you bring that up?
Loose cotton short sleeve undershirt, no gloves. maybe some knee braces.
No armbands.
No armbands, no visor. All about business. Like, the guy is a football player through and through. This is the kind of offensive lineman you need. You need at least one or two of these guys of the front. You can have your one guy that's got a sleeve on, maybe one guy's got some cool gloves. The guy's got your left tackle's got some Jordan cleats. What? No. Sam Utu, he's out there in some some generic Madden cleats. No gloves, nothing, no accessory whatsoever. He's just here to dominate you, and he does it on just about every rep that you can see there.
Oh, we love the pass set and then pull on for this draw play. He's athletic. And I'll say that, definitely athletic for his size.
He moves so well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what makes me think he really can play tackle at the next level. I know he's a little limited size wise, but.
Well, this is a player with a very good base, a very good base level set of you can enhance some of these skills, work the pad level in the run game just a little bit more. But as far as obviously there's a highlight, so we're not going to see him getting beat. But as far as his high school tape, it looks like a player that I would be recruiting.
Yeah, certainly.
We'll say that. Talk about his recruitment just a little bit. What did we find was a little bit interesting or positive about who all was helping recruit him?
Yeah, I think there was a certain family who the Alabama fans are likely very familiar with that I believe was pretty instrumental in his recruitment. The Tagovailoa family, to his parents, Nalu, and now I'm blanking on his mom's name. I'm blanking on his mother's name now. But regardless, the Tagovailoa family, I think about 2 weeks ago, Alabama had their first crop official visitors. Malachi Lee, another, I don't remember. I don't want to butcher this, but Polynesian, Samoan, I don't want to be saying the wrong word there if I am.
Right.
Sorry, but another player from that background, had the Tagovailoas were in Tuscaloosa going out to dinner with them, I believe. As I understand it, that culture is just a lot different from the way that we kind of do everything.
Very family oriented. Extremely.
So I think that, having a firsthand example of, okay, this is another family from that background that went to Alabama, that went through the rigors of this program and everything, and have good things to say about it, means a lot to these prospects. A guy like Sam Utu, a guy like Malachi Lee. So the Tagovailoas have been on campus a lot this summer, seems like, helping recruit, and I think that's awesome. It's no secret that, a lot of times some of the best prospects on the offensive line are of Polynesian background or Samoan background. They tend to produce some really good offensive linemen and defensive linemen. So this is good news for Alabama.
Yeah, awesome for Alabama. I find it very, very cool because Tua didn't play for Kalen DeBoer.
Sure.
Tua didn't play for
I think it says a lot about
any of these staff, any of these players. People, of course, on the back end, on the recruiting staff, and in the interior of the building, Tua has connections with those folks. But as far as the 10 coaches, look at Freddie Roach. Yeah, Freddie's been here since Tua. So, and look at Robert Gillespie too. Those are the two longest standing coaches. I don't know if Robert Gillespie and Tua
I don't think
crossed
so.
paths.
Looks like Gillespie joined the staff in 21.
Yeah, sorry, boom, he's in the NFL by then, and I think Freddie Roach is a 16er, is a 17er. I think.
Named defensive line coach in 2020, but
okay.
I think he was an assistant before that, wasn't he?
I think he was. So almost no connection to the actual football staff.
Yeah.
Obviously,
he was there in 15 to 17 as a director of player development.
There you go. So there's
somewhat familiar with Tua.
Perfect.
But still,
point being though, of course, duh, Joe, it's all the same alma mater, duh. And I'm not trying to paint a picture like he didn't play at Alabama, duh. But the staff is completely different. We see it with Justice Fitzpatrick.
Sure.
Justice Fitzpatrick said, I don't care that my brother went to Alabama. All the coaches that coach my brother are in Athens, and I'm going to go play for them.
Yeah.
Which is fine, whatever. But I just think it's very positive of Kalen DeBoer to say, hey, we have a pretty marketable player, pretty high-level player who played here. I didn't coach him. His father is right up the road, and maybe there's a way that we can, utilize this connection, create this connection. I thought I saw Galu Tagovailoa at some Alabama football camps over this past week, just helping out, just coaching some of the guys up, and just participating as a, I guess, volunteer. And so I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I really do too. I think it says a lot about Kalen DeBoer as a coach. Says a lot about the way that he's running this program. I think, we talked about a ton that had the no players entering the transfer portal in the spring. I think this continues to add to the legend of Kalen DeBoer and how he's able to build these relationships with people and just how personable he is. Because he did not know to his family. He built that relationship when he got here, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Coach Saban probably introduced him, but from there, you know, I would imagine he has been the one to cultivate that, and it seems like he's done a pretty good job.
Brian Kelly needs to take some notes. My family, Alabama. I mean, I hate to make it that way, but the family program sure seems like it's a prominent theme in my like.
Do you think that
that's my rose-colored glasses a little bit, but
do you think that it's? I don't want to say. This may sound bad, but do you think that that's been a larger focus under DeBoer in just these 2 years than it was in the last bit of Saban?
1,000%.
I agree, and I don't want to say that to like to talk down on Saban or anything, but it just feels like there's been a kind of a shift in the attitude and the kind of the culture a little bit.
A little less of a business.
Yes.
Obviously, the results need to be there, but just a little less of a business.
Yeah, I agree.
So excited, Sam Utu. So Sam Utu's commitment takes Alabama to what? Takes Alabama. Oh
6.
no, it's so bad. 46 on 46 overall.
Well,
on 24/7. Oh, they're falling behind.
Head on over to the On3 team rankings.
Oh no, on 3.
Alabama is number 8 with just 6 commitments. Quality over quantity in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
With an average commitment score of, I believe, 90.2.
Is that how they're doing this? Just by average score?
Yeah, so On3 does it by average score. 247 does it by total score, I believe.
Right. Okay. All right. Good distinction. Good distinction.
Which, look, say what you will, whether you like one platform or the other. I have always historically been a 247 guy, but I do think that the average score is probably a better indicator of where the class stands ranking-wise.
But what if we only have 6 commits, Mason?
Well, then those 6 are probably all going to be starters that will go to the NFL.
46-0. You can't have Alabama behind UCF, behind BYU. What are we going to do? Purdue at 38?
Well,
the Auburn Tigers are at 35. Mason.
We got 2 commits coming up this month. Xavier Griffin, June 29th, which Alabama is firmly in the driver's seat for. Sincere Johnson coming up June 19th, which Alabama has been firmly in the driver's seat for. I think maybe that is taking a little bit of taking a step down just a bit. He did visit his hometown team, Ohio State. He's from Ohio. He's from Cleveland, so I'm sure grew up an Ohio State fan. If I had to guess,
rocks.
Was there this past weekend, so I imagine they rolled out the red carpet for him. But over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, Alabama has, I would say, 6, 7 guys that are all expected to commit that have named them as finalists, and I would not be shocked if they land 4 or 5 of them.
Two of our other schools that we're covering, Boston College and Vanderbilt, are ranked way ahead of them. Kalen DeBoer, you can't recruit. Oh no, Kalen.
Bill O'Brien is building a monster.
Building a 3-star monster, 12 3-stars in this class, 1 4-star.
About to be 2 4-stars.
There you go. We getting another one.
That's
there
what I'm thinking.
B.O.B. I do like that B.O.B. is really having a heavy focus on that Northeast. Now, you can say that's obvious.
He's
Joe.
Building a wall around the Northeast.
Yeah. You could say, obvious strategy, Joe, but sometimes coaches don't do the obvious strategy. He's like, you playing in Massachusetts and you can play football?
Welcome aboard.
Exactly.
I think they have I want to say second or third most commits in the ACC right now with like 18 in the class, 17 in the class, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really has done an impressive job on the recruiting trail. I think that obviously Bill O'Brien's name carries a lot of weight with a lot of these recruits, just with the experience he has, the NFL background and things like that, his ability to show them, hey, I know what it takes to get to the NFL, a lot of whatever it is. But, I think he's also just built a pretty tough program there, and they're doing a good job on the recruiting trail.
Great job, B.O.B. We'll see if you can stay ahead of Kalen DeBoer over the next couple of weeks.
Another guy I do think we should be expecting, hopefully a commitment relatively soon, is 5-star safety Jira Edwards. Not 100% sure, but Alabama's assistant defensive back coach Kevon Coleman just the other day tweeting out the elephant emoji. Jira Edwards was the only defensive back on campus this week that is not committed. The other one being Jordan Edmonds, who committed back in, I think, March. So we will have to see what happens there. He tweets the picture out of him and Jordan Edmonds both right in their Alabama jerseys. I think Alabama's had in pretty good standing with Mr. Edwards there.
We got to give a lot of credit to Pete Golding for setting a trend.
Yeah, honestly, it's every coach.
They all do it now.
Boston College's coach was going crazy. The GM was going crazy this weekend. On the Twitter machine. Alabama assistant coach is going crazy. Vanderbilt assistant coach, Missouri assistant coach is going crazy. Everybody. He really did seemingly kind of start that trend.
We got somebody. Here's the emoji. Even the Alabama baseball's got a couple guys, and they're having some success in the transfer portal. But you following. I cannot remember his name. I'll have to look at it. I'm following, but he hits you every time before a commit with the Forrest Gump Alabama GIF, and it's like, okay, well, something's about to release, and it's a good little bat signal.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. It certainly helps us do our job. You depending on what coach. I mean, just like this coach Kevon Coleman. Defensive backs coach. All right, there's only one guy on campus that's a defensive back and isn't committed. It's probably him he's talking about, if I had to guess.
That, and I like it because it gets everybody in a frenzy without spoiling the kid's announcement. When obviously the kid can still flip and go another way, but if he does, that said coach doesn't have that much egg on his face because it's just an emoji.
Just an emoji off into the ether,
right? It's just like, that was an elephant deal. I mean,
he can just say, I was talking about the kid that's going to commit next week.
Next one. Exactly. It wasn't for Billy. It was for Johnny. So I thank you, Pete Golding, for that, and I guess we'll see. Hopefully, we don't see a whole lot of land sharks on the timeline from him. All right, Mason. That's the two topics that really were pressing for me, but we have a lot more in this House versus NCAA conversation, and you didn't get to talk about it at all yesterday. I'm going to throw one thing at you because before the show, we talked about the NIL Go, and we talked about the $600 deal. You got to file $600 or more. And yesterday, Theo theorized that you're going to see Mason Woods Jr. signing $599 NIL deals, multiple $599 deals with Billy's Barbecue I'm gonna sign it at once a week. I'm gonna sign it. Maybe we agree to a $30,000 deal or whatever, but we're gonna sign individual contracts at $599 over and over and over and over and over and over again to skirt the rules.
Certainly a possibility.
So I'll just throw that at you and just kind of want your thoughts on really the change in college sports. You got the $20.5 million that Greg Burns said Alabama is going to fully fund. Great. You've got scholarship limits that have been raised, but you're losing walk-ons. But then you're also having this NIL Go. I think those are the three biggest portions of the House versus. And I guess the fourth biggest portion is back pay to athletes all the way back to 2016. I think that's all like 2.8, 2.3 billion collectively across. So it's going to be back paid out.
How many athletes are actually going to collect that?
Devontae Smith. Think about that 2017 team.
Sure, but I mean. Nobody in the NFL is doing that paperwork to get that money.
That's true.
And then I don't know what a lot of the guys that didn't make it are doing, but a lot of them probably are not doing it either. What's going to happen with that giant sum of money that is probably not going to actually get paid out to anybody? Hardly.
It's going to go to Montana Fouts.
There we go.
It's going to go to Montana Fouts. It's going to go to Herb Jones. It's going to go to those types. It's going to go to those types who were really good, but sorry, you were born in the wrong time.
Sure.
So those four aspects. You've got the $20.5 million. Mm-hmm. How does an athletic department spread it out? You've got NIL Go, with the $600 limit. Now, they say if it's a legal, above board deal, great. It doesn't matter. Here you go.
Yeah.
We'll approve it. You've got the scholarship limits, raising and losing of the walk-ons, and the back pay. So 4 big aspects of House versus NCAA. What do you want to? What drives Mason Wood's brain?
We'll run down the list. We'll start with that $20.5 million. Are we sure that Greg Byrne didn't misspeak and mean to say, "Yay, Alabama will be funding that"? We're positive, right? Because they might flip it on us and rug pull us. Wouldn't shock me. No, I think this is this is.
I don't think Alabama can. I think it's from the revenue, the TV revenue.
That's as it should be. So they can't, nickel and dime fans for it anymore. But that money, the way it's going to be split up, if it was up to me, I would look at every year. I'd say, oh, this is how much money we brought in. Okay, this is that program, that football team brought in X percentage, baseball team brought in X percentage of our total net money from this year. All right, you get this, you get that percentage of the $20.5 million this year. That seems to be the most logical way to do it. I don't think that's probably going to happen. I would imagine football is at most places just going to get, which, if we're being honest, they probably are the ones bringing in the vast majority of the money most places. So I guess it works out that way. But I would imagine football gets, anywhere between like 12 and 17 of that million. And I'm okay with that. To be honest, that's kind of, it just is what it is. The other sports don't make the money. Like, I'm sorry. I hate to be this way, but, field hockey does not make the same money that football does. Or, swimming does not make the same money that football does. Softball does not make the same money that football, whatever sport you want to put in there. Basketball, even most places. Yeah. It's just how it is. I don't think that we can do this whole fairness. Well, we're going to split this money evenly among. So that's not going to happen because that's not how it is. It's not how the money gets made. The money gets made by one program for the most part, and then they pay everyone else to keep them afloat. Essentially, football keeps, I would imagine, the vast majority of Alabama athletics afloat. So they're going to get the large portion of the pie, and it's going to be
not probably they do.
Yeah, it's going to be there everywhere. So I'm okay with that. I think football deserves to get the largest chunk of that money because, as I said, they're the ones bringing in the most of that money. So that's all right with me. And then let's see. What else we have?
Scholarship limits raising to 105 on the football, 85 to 105. Basketball is up to 15, I believe. Baseball, I think you can go up to 34. Now, you're not going to fund 34 scholarships for baseball. I think that Rob Vaughn is going to be afforded somewhere in the 26 to 30 range. So it's going to really be up to these schools what they want to fund. And so I wonder about baseball for sure, if they're going to get the full 34. I promise you football will absolutely get 105. And I promise you if Nate Oates wants 15, then he'll get 15. I think Nate will probably be good around 12 or 13, as we have seen him operate the last handful of years at about that number. I do think it creates more opportunities for players and athletes. But I'm concerned about Billy Walk-On, who has lost or is going to be losing their spot. Now, I don't know this if things are great. If the Walk-Ons, let me find out. Are the football?
Can I say something that's probably going to sound harsh?
Go ahead.
I don't care about Billy Walk-On. Billy Walk-On, you should have gone to somewhere that actually wanted you to play on their football team.
Go for it. Keep going.
You had ample opportunity. I guarantee it. If you're a walk-on at Alabama, you had plenty of other schools wanting you to play there that are much smaller, mind you. But they would have given you a scholarship probably, and you would have been on the field on Saturdays. So I have no sympathy for walk-ons. I just don't. It has always, to me, that has been the stupidest decision of, I'm going to pass up on a school that wants me to come play here, and then I'm going to just go force myself onto this team that doesn't actually want me to play here. They're only keeping me there to fill a spot.
They are grandfathered in.
It makes no sense to me. I will never understand the walk-on decision. It's just objectively a dumb choice in my eyes. So I do not feel any sympathy for the walk-ons. I think, if anything, this is great because it gives more players more opportunities to get scholarships at bigger schools. And it pushes walk-ons to playing at schools that they actually have a chance to play at. That's so dumb. So stupid. Why would you take a preferred walk-on spot over somewhere else that wants you to play there, wants you to be on the field?
Well, I love the Tide.
I don't give a damn.
I love the Tide.
So dumb. Take off your crimson-colored glasses and make an actual smart decision about your future. Go take free school.
Mac Hereford would disagree with you.
Okay.
He's turned himself into
An internet star.
Shoot.
You know how few people do that? That's not a career path you can bank on.
He's got a lot of personality and
Certainly, and he's done great. You know how many other walk-ons have done that? Very, very few.
Right, that's true. So they are grandfathered in.
It's just dumb to me. I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. That does sound harsh, but
Nope.
I have zero sympathy for the walk-on here.
Well,
Go play somewhere that wants you to play there.
Right.
I didn't.
And like, here's the deal to me. Maybe I could have played at a Berry College, right? It's right outside of Rome, Georgia. Teeny
Yeah.
school. It's I don't want to play there. I don't want to play. Well, maybe your football career's done.
That's precisely my point. It's if you think you're too good to play at the smaller school that wants you to play, you probably aren't meant to be playing football anymore. Everybody got to hang it up at some point, buddy.
That was a hard night for Joe. The last night of my high school football career, that was a bleeping hard night for me.
I sat out my whole season injured.
Yeah,
that was tough.
That's also hard. That's definitely hard as well. So the walk-ons are grandfathered in, but you are upping the scholarship limit. So Kalen DeBoer can flex his mighty might and add more.
Oh, we're mad more kids get to go to school for free?
I'm not mad.
No, but there's a lot of people that are.
That's true. That's true. Okay, that's $20.5 million. That's the scholarship limits. How about, what are your thoughts on NIL Go and Deloitte? Because I hate it.
I love it in theory.
Go ahead.
In practice, it probably will not be great. I'm sure it will be rife with corruption, just like everything is. It will very likely, if I had to guess. I think my main concern is not necessarily what Theo said of the constant under that $600 line deals, but just that they will essentially turn into what the NCAA has been, where it's zero amount of transparency as to who's getting their deals approved, and it's just whoever we want. Ohio State, $2 million deal? Yeah, that checks out. All good. No, sign it away. And then it's going to be Virginia Tech. You want to poach a kid from Michigan? That deal doesn't make sense. That's not market value. Denied. So, I think that's probably what it's going to turn into. That's the concern there. In theory, though, this is a perfect idea. This is exactly what needs to happen. You need an objective third party to judge these deals that does not have any skin in the game, that is there simply to look at financial records objectively. That's what this should be. But again, I don't think it's going to be.
Can we get these folks from Deloitte to be all foreigners?
That would be great.
Look, this is not about a race thing. This is about who doesn't have a tie to a college.
We need someone that knows nothing about football.
Yes, exactly. It's like no one that has a tie to Michigan, Alabama, Texas Tech. Like, it doesn't matter.
I want a team of 50 people that don't speak English analyzing these deals. And they've never heard of the NCAA.
Right. They're like, what is college football?
Yes, that's exactly what they need.
I didn't go to any school. Pick. I mean, they can all be English.
Give me some Cambridge alums.
I was thinking Cambridge, Oxford, all of those. Give me some. It has nothing to do with race or anything. It has people that are not connected to a college already.
Yeah,
mommy went to. My parents went to Georgia. My entire youth, it was favorability to Georgia until I went to Alabama. And now you obviously see it, favorability to Alabama. Like, this is, how can we remove I don't
like them.
Right, exactly. They beat my school 4 years ago, and I don't want them to keep getting good. That loss made me drink that night, and I broke, whatever the case may be.
You need either, like we said, a team of completely foreign people that have no real understanding of American society or culture or football whatsoever, or just robots. Computers can do these kinds of things. Computers can analyze, you set parameters and they can analyze things based on certain parameters. I'm not a computer guy, really. I mean, I know probably more than some people, but I am not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, not any kind of coder or anything, but there are a lot of people who make a lot more money than me, who went to a lot more school than me, who can figure out these algorithms and things to make these, various whatever task you need work. You look at any social media now; it is tailor made to what exactly what you want to see. I guarantee they can figure out a way to make some sort of accounting algorithm that is going to objectively analyze deals that are made. But no, we're going to have a team of what are we 50, 18 to 24, 22 to 30-year-olds that are working at Deloitte 75 hours a week, who are pushed to the limit, and they all just want to help their alma mater win a national championship.
My deal is like everything should be approved, but what I do like is that the athletes have to register this stuff. They should approve everything. Everything should be approved, because if I want to pay Billy $1,000, well, Billy's worth $1,000, period. And if my business, it turns out bad, that investment turns out bad because I overpaid an athlete, well, buddy, that's the cost of doing business sometimes. I think that's part. All these deals should be approved, but they all need to. I wish that would be a change. They all were approved, but you have to file it. You have to file it that way, because right now a huge issue is lying. Well, I got paid $2 million. Billy got paid $2 million.
I've been mad about it for 5 years now.
Right.
Like, these numbers, Arch Manning's is worth $4 million. Where is that information coming from? There is zero evidence to back that up. That is just one guy from some blog saying it somewhere, and everyone takes it and runs with it like it's gospel. We have no financial backing for that. We have no paperwork to back any of that up. You have no idea. It's all. I have thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but I continue to think that the vast majority of those massive deals that you see get thrown around like that are nothing more than recruiting fodder. It is just, look at what we did, other kids in this class. Nobody, half those kids aren't seeing that money.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm against telling kids what they are and are not worth, or put it. It's going to create more antitrust. Is you blocked my deal? You blocked my deal. Dreamland Barbecue says I was worth X amount of $1,000. Whatever the case may be. I just am fearful of the litigation. And the other thing, Mason, that I was fearful of yesterday was, oh well, don't file this deal. Here's your $100 handshake. Don't file this deal. You could, because it's supposed to be self-reported. It's supposed to be, and look, we did move out into the open, the bright sunlight, and maybe y'all didn't like what y'all saw with the way that this game is played. But hello, welcome to reality. This is not amateur football. This hasn't been amateur football my entire life. And you're just going to send it back into the shadows.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said that last week. This all ends with Bagman coming back. It is what it is. I don't even know how you really go about combating that. I guess if you were some larger governing body, you could assign an auditor to every team in the country and have them look at their financial records. But the logistics of that are just not really realistic. So yeah. I think there will certainly be some of that going on. The certain not reporting, and then kids kind of hiding what they're making, and programs finding sneaky ways to get them their money one way or another.
All right. Now, Ross Dellinger tweeted something about, I saw it this morning as I was trying to, The Power Conference has released a statement applauding the discussion draft of the new House bill that's circulating. But per the copy, the bill would grant NCAA protections, athletes health care and scholarship, state pre-exemption, health codification, what you'd expect. Basically, it looks like there's a new bill on the floor to base. Let's see. Okay. Key highlights of the SCORE Act. All right. Perfect. All right. More litigation in Washington. The SCORE Act. Here's the next one. We settled House versus NCAA. We're moving into the SCORE Act. All right. The SCORE Act says replacing the confusing patchwork state NIL laws with a national standard ensuring all student athletes are treated fairly, no matter where they play. Love that.
Yep.
Affirming student athletes' rights to profit from their name, image, and likeness. Good. Requiring academic support and ensuring access to mental health and well-being resources for student athletes. Another positive. Prohibiting student athletes from being considered employees of an institution, conference, or athletic association. Don't know about that one. And then protecting rules that serve the educational mission of college athletics. Don't know about that one either, buddy.
This is look at this shiny new thing. We're gonna take everything you have right here behind your back. We're gonna take everything away from you while we give you this shiny new toy to play with.
Judge Claudia Wilkin approves Magistrate Judge Nathaniel Cousins as a special master to resolve any disputes with this settlement. So if there's any other fallout, this new judge is going to oversee any more of this fallout. All right, last piece of the House versus NCAA.
I do have one more thing on the
please,
thing.
please.
Do we know these deals when they get reported? They're going to be like public record. Like, are we going to be able to look at every deal that a player has signed NIL wise? Is this going to go into some sort of document records that we can view, or is it all just going to be under the guise of, well, we're analyzing it and we're taking care of to make sure that it's legit? Because I think that also is a big thing here.
No, it's going to share data with coaches and athletic directors.
Bingo.
Is what this says.
So this is nothing. This is nothing. This will do nothing. This will just be the same issue we have now.
While some data will be shared, the platform is not intended to be a public repository of all NIL agreements. According to Deloitte, the clearinghouse's data is being shared with coaches and athletic directors to help them understand the impact of the new rules and how they will affect NIL deals. So you're going to get some of the big boy reporters who will report, Billy filed a deal.
When Texas tells a reporter, hey, we paid a kid $2 million, you'll see a story about it.
Yeah. But it's, I guess it's going to be just like the transfer portal. I guess these coaches and these athletic directors will probably have some sort of login code, and some reporters will get it, and maybe we'll pay $1 million to get one of our own.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me, I understand why that's not public information, I guess, because it is just like these kids' financial happenings. So I understand we're not necessarily privy to know how much money they make. But I think with something like this, you almost kind of need to have it be that way, because that's the only way for there to be any accountability there.
I agree with you. I wish it were public.
I mean, NFL contracts, we know about those.
But we don't know about NFL endorsement deals.
Yeah, this is fair.
And that's been my whole argument this entire time. This entire time of NIL is people are like, we need a salary cap. And I'm like, it's not salary. It's Russell Wilson gets whatever he gets from whatever. He's not in the league anymore right now. He's looking for a team.
No, he's on the Giants.
Oh, he is. Okay, thank you. So he got whatever he got, 1 year deal with the Giants.
He's going to get beat by Jackson Dart.
Great. So we do know that, but whatever his deal is with Gillette, whatever his deal is with Subway, whatever his deal is with name your company X, we have no idea. And yeah, maybe the Giants, help facilitate some of those deals. I don't know about that, but
I think that's how a lot of money not in contracts goes in the NFL. I don't know. I've never been in any of those meetings, but I'm under the impression that that's how a lot of, we need you to. Oh, you want some more money than we're willing to offer you in a contract?
We'll call State Farm.
I'm a board member at this company. We'll get you on a big deal, and
I'm gonna call Patrick Mahomes. Here's your $500 million. You need more? We'll call State Farm.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of that works, which I guess is okay, but it's a little shady.
Right. The NIL has never been salary. Now you guys do have a salary cap.
Yeah.
You have a salary cap at $20.5 million, and
we're gonna know how much players are making out of that.
My big thing with that, Mason, is I have zero envy for Greg Byrne. If I ever thought I wanted to be an athletic director, throw that out the window right now. Because
I would have had a hard time handling that job 70 years ago. You think I could do it today?
And look, hats off to you, Greg Byrne, and all these other athletic directors who are going to be dealing with football coach arguing with football coach arguing with the basketball coach, arguing with the softball coach, arguing with the track coach, arguing with the, we need X, we need Y, we need Z. And like, I don't think I'm saying that. I feel bad saying that, but because I don't think any of the Alabama coaches have any sort of animosity towards each other at all. What I see is the athletic department supports each other very well. And I'm attending, I'm attending sister programs game and, whatever. Everything's all positive.
But at the end of the day, they are all trying to win.
Right. How do you go to Greg Byrne and say, my softball pitcher needs another $500,000? And he says, well, who do I take it from? Do I take it from LeBaron Philon? Do I take it from, what do you do? And, okay, you probably are saying, well, the best way for us to do this is to move money off of a football player or out of a football player and recoup that money in NIL.
That's what I was just going to say. This is where that's fine. We'll do that. And then so-and-so, hey, I got a buddy over here that's got a business. Sign you right up. No big deal.
Right. So there's going to be ways for you to get around it. There's going to be ways around it. But
it's just so many more hoops to jump
through. Complication between the programs on campus, and I don't envy the persons and the people who have to make these decisions.
I don't know if we talked about it on the show or not, but Greg Byrne going to that Metallica concert a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, I bet he really needed that. I bet he really needed that night of not thinking about all of this. I hope that he got his night of relaxation listening to some Metallica.
He looked like he was third, fourth row, right there in front.
Yeah, I bet that one meant a lot to him. This is probably not an easy period the last 2-3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, big hats off to him, but I do not envy the complications. All right, Mason, I think my voice has had enough, and I think the people have had enough of it. Anything else you got for us on a Tuesday?
I don't believe so. No, we can, a few, like I said, a bunch of commitments coming down the pipeline over the next month or so. Look out for it. Hopefully Alabama will be landing a handful of them.
Did we decide who we're going to look at tomorrow? We looked at South Carolina last week, and I thought that was probably our best one yet. And so we are improving on the Know Your Enemy series. We want to turn your attention to BamaCentral.com. Yesterday, Will Miller started the early opponent preview with Florida State. I think I'm up next with ULM. I think I'm supposed to do that tomorrow morning. I'll double check our schedules there.
Listen to the show. We talked about them so much.
Absolutely.
We gave you so much good information about the Warhawks.
Golly. Do you just want to turn it into Vanderbilt tomorrow since we're talking Diego Pavia?
Yeah, we could do that. That seems like a good segue. All
right. Vanderbilt Commodores on Know Your Enemy as we continue the summer series. We're going to get out of here for the day. I'm going to go drink a lot of hot tea and sit in a sauna for this. Look, I yelled so much on Saturday night at New Era Wrestling. On Sunday, I was fine. My voice was fine. I think maybe the main event of Monday Night Raw, there were a few times where I thought Gunther was about to get tapped out again, and I was yelling. I said, no, bleep this, and at the TV, and they false finished me a couple times, and then Gunther choked him out, and he left in the ring, and I was like, yes, my king back on top.
How it always should have been.
Exactly. Like WrestleMania. Sorry, Jey Uso. WrestleMania was total hooey, absolute hooey.
There is not a world that exists where it's a believable match to have Jey Uso beat not Jey Uso in his current form. Now, like I said, if I had gotten what I wanted leading up to WrestleMania and we had not seen Jey Uso for about 6 weeks or so and he came back like shredded, would have been another story. It'd be like, oh, this is new and improved Jey Uso. Maybe adds another 3 moves to his repertoire.
He did hit a suplex last night.
That's good.
And yeah, German
but
suplex on him.
There's just I am never going to buy Jey Uso beating Gunther in his current form right now. That's just matchup. You look at him, I'm just not buying.
Yeah, so last night the Austrian monster comes out and basically handles business. A couple of different times they got the chokehold on him. And I'm like, are you seriously going to get him tapped out again? Like, that is not the way this goes. So maybe that's why my voice went bad. Maybe I slept with my mouth open. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out tomorrow. We'll do Vanderbilt on Know Your Enemy. We appreciate everybody who's joining us. I saw Jonathan Jackson commenting, Everett Osmer commenting as well. Dax, hit us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can join the show at Joe Gaither 6, at MA Woods _ at Bama Central. We will talk to you tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.